Welcome to Release to Results. It's the Course in Miracles workbook series where we're letting go through every lesson, allowing anything that comes up for us to come up. Why? So we can release it. We spend so much of our lives, lifetimes, this whole experience that we're having, shoving these feelings down, making right and wrong of them, judging them, moralizing about them. And the Course is just telling us it's okay. It's okay to have these feelings. They're just illusions. Could you let them up and let them go? There's nothing you need to hold on to from the past that you've experienced before. Notice the clinging to the stories. Notice how I'm reaffirming what I don't want. Notice how I'm insisting on an illusion. And now I have the opportunity to listen to these ideas, to let them work upon me, and to let go of anything other than what's being suggested here. Like God is the love in which I forgive. There's nothing to fear. God's voice is speaking to me all through the day. And these are some very powerful ideas. I am sustained by the love of God. So if it seems like God isn't there or God isn't helping me, could you just notice that behind all those thoughts, there's just some kind of a feeling? There's just a feeling there. And could you let that up? Could you love yourself enough? Could you have the courage to help yourself by letting up some of the stuff that hasn't been working and releasing it? We're going to do that with these lessons. We're going to keep doing it. We've got another 305 days of these lessons and these releases. So take what you like and leave the rest. This is just your opportunity to experience the truth of what you are. And you can do all the lessons, you can do one of the lessons, you can do every 5 lessons. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Just allow yourself to have an experience that's here for you right now, where you are, as best you can. Let's begin. Lesson 60, reviewing Lesson 46. God is the love in which I forgive. God does not forgive, but because he has never condemned. Could you notice anywhere in which you've been condemning yourself? Is there anywhere you've been making wrong of yourself? Is there anywhere you've been condemning others or making wrong of others? And that's okay without judging or moralizing about that. Could you go behind the thoughts, the story about that? And could you allow yourself to feel this energy, this emotion that's been stored or carried? There's nothing you have to do. Could you allow this energy to come up and move and see what happens? See what's on the other side if you are able to release this energy. You might be able. It starts by just acknowledging this feeling and just letting the thoughts drift by. You can't stop the thoughts are happening. Could you just let them go by and allow yourself to feel this feeling behind these thoughts of condemnation, blame? Could you feel what it feels like to be carrying that? And just let it be there for a moment. And could you let that energy go? What does it mean to let it go? There's nothing you have to do about it. Rather than holding or trying to push it away, just letting go, seeing what happens, as this energy moves, whether you say, yes, I could let it go, or no, I couldn't. Just allowing this energy to move. And would you let it go if you could? You never have to. Just would you? When could you let it go and allow God to be the love in which forgiveness happens? And you might notice this energy lightens or shifts or moves. If there's more, there's just more to be felt. No forcing anything to happen, no needing to control what's happening, just allowing what's happening with this idea: God is the love in which I forgive. God is the love in which I forgive. And there's nothing to forgive from the God perspective. No condemnation has ever happened. That's something I've chosen to do. Is there anywhere you've chosen to condemn or blame yourself or someone else? Ignoring your innocence, ignoring others' innocence, and insisting on condemning, blaming, making wrong of yourself or someone else. And without further condemnation, oh, it's wrong or that's right, that's good or that's bad, could you notice it's just a feeling, just some energy behind all these cycling thoughts of condemnation and blame and wrong and right? Could you let the thoughts scroll by without clicking subscribe and just allow this feeling? Could you sit with a feeling? Could you notice a feeling? Could it be just a feeling? Just some energy. And could you surrender? Nothing to do with it, whether it goes or whether it stays, just surrendering this feeling as best you can. Would you surrender this energy behind blame and condemnation, righting and wronging? When could you surrender and let God be the love in which you forgive? It's not something you have to do as a separate self. Just could you surrender? Always optional. Never have to do anything. Never have to let go of anything. Power forces you to do nothing. It's your choice. And could you notice any energy that's there for you and just be surrendering, just turning it over? And God is the love in which I forgive. God is the love in which I forgive. Now, forgiveness is not something God does, or God has never condemned. All that making right of and wrong of, good and bad, that's a human thing. Could you notice any of this condemnation or blaming or righting or wronging on yourself or others? That guilt or the projection of it? Any of these thoughts of damning or making wrong of, bad, 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 that you're putting on yourself or others? Could you go behind such imaginings, such illusions, and settle in with this feeling? Go inside, wherever this feeling's sitting in your field, in the body in your field. Could you just allow this energy to come up and ignore the thoughts? The thoughts are resisting feeling this feeling, taking you out and around and around and around. Could you ignore the thoughts just for now and sit with this feeling? Could be in your gut, could be in your chest, could be anywhere in your field. Could you just sit with it, feel it, notice it, just for now? And could you set that energy free? Would you set that energy free if you could? You get what you give. When could you set this energy of condemnation, bad, wrong, all that? When could you set it free? And then just watching what happens. Maybe it lightens, maybe it's still stuck, maybe it's shifted or it's gone. Wherever you're at, whatever you're feeling, that's okay. No need to further guilt or right or wrong or condemn. No need to add more to this. Could you just allow what's happening to happen? And you're free when you are free to feel and free to let go, free to accept these ideas, free to reject them. In lesson 48, there is nothing to fear. How safe the world will look to me when I can actually see it. It will not look anything like I imagine I see now. There is nothing to fear. And could you notice if it seems like there's something to fear? Perhaps fearing condemnation, for I've condemned others. Perhaps fearing pain. Perhaps fearing finances. Does it seem like there's something to fear? And that's okay. Even though there's nothing to fear, it seems like it sometimes. And could you allow up any of this energy, any of this feeling of anxiety, worry, fear, terror. Those are all just sounds that are coming out of this mouth. It's just a feeling. Could you let the thinking go by without any needing to do anything with it? Could you just let those thoughts pass by? You can't stop the thoughts, but you have the option to ignore them. And could you allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling? Could you even go into the feeling with your consciousness, going through the thoughts, just passing them by, ignoring them? Going through the surface of the feeling, could you dive into the feeling deeper? Could you allow yourself consciously to go to the core of this energy, right to its center, and just be aware of diving in, floating in this feeling? Nothing you have to do, nothing you have to change. Could you just be aware of consciously this feeling as best you can? And could you surrender this energy? Would you surrender this energy? When could you give up this energy of fear and discover there is nothing to fear? You never have to. It takes what it takes. There can be quite a reservoir of this fear energy that's been held onto. It may seem really important. That's okay. Could you just allow this idea to work upon you? There is nothing to fear. Another way of saying it, all fear is illusion. Surrender it to God. And what does it seem like there is to be afraid of? Is there anything that seems like it's not an illusion to be worried about, anxious about, to feel afraid of? And without judging or moralizing about whatever's coming up for you, could you ignore, go behind those pictures, images, scenes, and stories in the mind and just notice what it feels like when those kinds of thoughts are running? Could you welcome the feeling and let the capping off of the feeling of thoughts drift by? The thoughts keep the feeling stuck there. Could you let those drift by so you can welcome the feeling and feel it for just a moment? Can't really stop the thoughts. They stop when this energy is released. Could you just let the thoughts pass by and feel the feeling behind them, the magnet to all those thoughts? Just a feeling. Could you even feel it more? How much of it has been stored? Could you check? Is there more? Is there more of this feeling? Could you make it bigger? Not more from outside. Any that's been carried, could you let it up? Let it be felt. And could you sit with this energy for a moment of eternity? Just a moment. Just allowing a feeling. And that is letting it go. Could you let it go? Yes or no's fine. Would you let it go? When you release this energy of fear, all those thoughts disappear. When could you let go of fear and discover there's nothing to fear? There is nothing to fear. All fear is illusion. Surrender it to God. And maybe some of this energy has lightened. Maybe some of it went. There could be more. It's okay. Oh, how much it has seemed like there was to be afraid of. And just taking anything else that comes through the mind that seems like it's scary, seems worrisome, seems terrifying. And there's an energy behind all thoughts of fear, all thoughts of fearful things. There's a feeling there. And if you could allow this feeling to come up now and move and release, all those thoughts disappear. Could you acknowledge and allow the feeling? It's an energy, it's a feeling. It's not all these stories about the feeling. To feel a feeling, it's not necessary to talk about it, understand it, explain it, label it. Could you just feel it? Just embrace this feeling as best you can, letting it be there without trying to change it, modify it, explain it. Could you let this feeling be felt? Would you let this feeling be felt? Just surrendering this energy of fear or whatever you're feeling, just letting it be there, surrendering, turning it over, just letting it be there, surrendering, turning it over to God. Surrenders like this. There's nothing you have to do with this feeling, nothing to modify, to change, to understand, explain, do something about. Could you just be surrendering to this feeling as you feel it, turning it over to God? Could you surrender this energy? Just could you? Would you surrender this energy? When could you surrender all the thoughts, all the energy of what there is to be afraid of and discover there is nothing to fear? It takes what it takes. There's nothing you have to do, and it might be quite a reservoir of fear. It's okay. Built up over a lifetime, could you spend a few minutes or a few hours surrendering fear to be free of it? Discover the truth. There is nothing to fear. What's that worth? To live with this idea that there is nothing to fear. Could you be surrendering what comes up for you? In Lesson 50, I am sustained by the love of God. Just letting any energy that's still moving, still there, you can keep on letting it move. This is your time to release any energy that's been stuck or carried. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. As I forgive, His love reminds me that His Son is sinless. And as I look upon the world with the vision He has given me, I remember that I am His son, a child of God. And could you allow yourself to take any sense that you are in some way sinful or not His child? Do you notice anything that comes up for you? And could you go behind any conceptions of sin or being other than a child of God, His son? And could you allow that energy that's just clouding, obscuring the awareness of the truth to be felt? Could you let this emotion come up and move, this feeling, without judging or moralizing about what's coming up for you? Could you notice the emotion? Ignore the thoughts. Allow the feeling. And it's just a feeling, isn't it? Not a good feeling, not a bad feeling. Those are all labels, words. Could you just allow this energy, this emotion to be there, feeling it, noticing it, just as it is? And you're free to let go, to release or not. Could you release? It's just a choice. Would you release this energy if you could? Maybe it stays, maybe it goes. Just releasing. When could you release and be sustained by the love of God. Be His child. And maybe it lightens, maybe it goes. Perhaps you're aware of what sustains you. Very, very different energy. That there still could be some energy. It's just blocking your awareness of what you really are. It's okay. I am sustained by the love of God. You notice this idea and what happens for you. I am sustained by the love of God. And perhaps there's some sense, perhaps, maybe not, that you're unworthy of this love or sinful. Some idea that you are not His child, whom is always loved, always sustained by that. And could you allow anything that came up for you, any thoughts, any feeling, could you just welcome whatever came up for you, whatever's there? And could you allow the thoughts to drift by and feel? Could you notice a feeling without trying to change it, modify it, push it away, stuff it down? Could you just allow a feeling, whatever it is, wherever it is? And could you surrender? Would you surrender this energy and be sustained by the love of God? When could you surrender any energy blocking that awareness and be sustained by the love of God? The idea in lesson 50 is I am sustained by the love of God. Could you allow that idea? Could you welcome your sustenance, the love of God? Just could you welcome it? There might be some resistance. That's okay. Be with whatever comes up for you. Could you allow the love of God? Could you be with the love of God? Could you surrender any resistance to the love of God and be His son, what you are, sinless? And could you walk in the world today of creation, sinless and giving what you have received, the love of God? You don't have to. Just could you? Just could you? And there could be more. Could you allow yourself to be sustained by the love of God? Discover there's nothing to fear. You can feel these feelings, you can let them up. No thoughts to be afraid of. You can allow whatever's coming up, any illusions, any imaginations. There's nothing to fear. Nothing you have to condemn yourself or anyone else about. God is the love in which you forgive. Could you walk in the world free of the world, sustained by the love of God, sharing with it what you would have shared with you? Well done releasing. And we're going to continue on this series for another 305 days. So grateful. The incredible service all of you are doing in letting go of this energy, showing our brothers what's possible as we release. And if there's more you'd like to release outside of these sessions, you have your own topics that you'd like to let go of, please join us at the link in the description. We have more of these sessions every day, and I'm so happy to have you join us if you like. Have the best day you can, sustained in the love of God. I'll see you in the next session.